the Washington Commanders' bold offseason moves and the acquisition of Jacob Martin. As the 2025 NFL season looms, the Washington Commanders are positioning themselves as one of the most intriguing teams in the league. After a strong 12-5 campaign in 2024, which saw them come within a game of reaching the Super Bowl, the franchise is not content to rest on its laurels. Instead, they're aggressively bolstering their roster to make a serious run at the championship, with their latest move being the acquisition of veteran defensive end Jacob Martin. Martin, who signed a one-year deal worth up to $3 million, brings versatility, depth, and experience to a team that is looking to build on its recent success. Jacob Martin's signing is significant not just because of his ability to contribute on defense but also for his prowess on special teams. Over the last 4 seasons, Martin has been a journeyman, playing for several teams including the Seattle Seahawks, Houston Texans, New York Jets, Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts, and Chicago Bears. While he may not be a household name, his value lies in his ability to fill multiple roles, something the Commanders are keen to leverage as they prepare for the 2025 season. Martin's path to Washington has been anything but conventional. Drafted in the 6th round of the 2018 NFL Draft by the Seahawks, he only spent 1 season in Seattle before embarking on a career that has taken him to multiple teams. Despite this, Martin has managed to carve out a niche for himself as a reliable edge rusher and special teams contributor. His 21 career sacks may not leap off the page, but his ability to make impactful plays in limited opportunities has earned him respect around the league. For the Commanders, adding a player like Martin fits perfectly into their strategy of building a roster filled with players who can contribute in a variety of ways. In today's NFL, depth is critical, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where injuries are common, and teams need players who can step in without a significant drop in performance. Martin's ability to play both on the defensive line and special teams gives Washington flexibility, a trait that General Manager Adam Peters has emphasized as key to building a championship contender. Beyond Martin's signing, the Commanders' offseason has been filled with other notable moves. They retained tackle Andrew Wiley, who played a critical role on their offensive line last season, and re-signed the player who made the famous Hail Mary catch against the Chicago Bears, further solidifying the team's receiving core. These moves, combined with the addition of Martin, demonstrate the Commanders' commitment to surrounding their young quarterback, Jayden Daniels, with a strong supporting cast. Daniels, who is entering his 2nd season in the NFL, has quickly become the face of the franchise. After being selected with a late-round pick, Daniels exceeded expectations in his rookie campaign, leading the Commanders to the NFC Championship game and earning praise from both his teammates and coaches. Commanders General Manager Adam Peters has been effusive in his praise for Daniels, noting that the young quarterback is his own toughest critic and is committed to maximizing his potential. However, for Washington to take the next step and become legitimate Super Bowl contenders, they must continue to build around Daniels. The acquisition of Martin is just one piece of the puzzle. The Commanders also need to hit on their upcoming draft picks, particularly the number 29 overall selection, which could provide them with a key player to complement their already talented roster. The addition of Martin, combined with the retention of key players like Wiley and the development of Daniels, puts the Commanders in a strong position heading into the 2025 season. But the road to the Super Bowl is never easy, and Washington will need to navigate a competitive NFC field that includes perennial powerhouses like the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers, and Dallas Cowboys. For now, though, the Commanders are confident that their off-season moves, including the acquisition of Jacob Martin, have set them up for success. Washington's Super Bowl aspirations and the Jayden Daniels era. The Washington Commanders' transformation into a Super Bowl contender is a testament to both the front office's strategic vision and the emergence of quarterback Jayden Daniels. After a stellar 2024 season that saw them reach the NFC Championship game, the Commanders are now on the short list of teams expected to contend for the Lombardi Trophy in 2025. This turnaround has been fueled by smart personnel decisions, including the drafting of Daniels, and the ability to retain and acquire key players during the offseason. Daniels' rise as Washington's starting quarterback has been nothing short of remarkable. A relatively unheralded prospect coming out of college, Daniels slipped to the later rounds of the NFL Draft, where the Commanders took a chance on him. That gamble has paid off in a big way, as Daniels quickly established himself as one of the most promising young quarterbacks in the league. His combination of athleticism, poise, and football IQ has given Washington a legitimate franchise quarterback, something the team had been searching for since the departure of Kirk Cousins years earlier. In his rookie season, Daniels threw for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns while also adding another 500 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. His dual-threat ability has made him a nightmare for opposing defenses, as they struggle to contain both his arm and his legs. But perhaps most impressive has been Daniels' composure in high-pressure situations. In the playoffs, he led Washington to victories over Tampa Bay and Detroit, orchestrating game-winning drives in both contests to help the Commanders reach the NFC Championship game. However, as good as Daniels was in his first year, the Commanders know that the key to long-term success in the NFL is surrounding their young quarterback with the right pieces. That's where the acquisition of players like Jacob Martin comes into play. By adding depth to their defense and bolstering special teams, Washington is ensuring that they have a well-rounded roster capable of competing at the highest level. Moreover, Martin's signing is just one part of a larger strategy aimed at maximizing Daniels' potential. The Commanders have also invested heavily in their offensive line, retaining tackle Andrew Wiley and adding other key pieces to protect their franchise quarterback. With a solid offensive line in place, Daniels should have more time to make plays in the pocket, which will only enhance his ability to stretch the field with his deep ball and pick apart defenses with his accuracy. But it's not just about protecting Daniels. The Commanders also need to provide him with weapons, and that's why they've focused on re-signing key skill players during the offseason. The player who made the famous Hail Mary catch against the Bears, whose name has become synonymous with clutch moments, will be back in Washington's receiving corps in 2025. His ability to make big plays in critical moments gives Daniels a reliable target, especially in high-stakes situations. As the Commanders prepare for the 2025 season, they are also looking to make a splash in the NFL draft. With the number 29 pick, Washington has an opportunity to add another impact player to their roster. Whether they choose to address their defense, add another weapon for Daniels, or shore up another area of need, the Commanders' front office is well aware that hitting on their draft picks is crucial to maintaining their status as a Super Bowl contender. Washington's general manager Adam Peters has been clear about the team's goals for the offseason. In a recent interview, Peters acknowledged that while the Commanders have a strong core in place, they still have several holes to fill on the roster. "We've got a lot of holes again on our roster in terms of players that played really well for us last year," Peters said. "We'll be active in free agency because we have to be. Our principles are the same. We want to bring in great people and great commanders that are going to help us win." The road to Super Bowl contention for the Commanders. While the Washington Commanders have made significant strides over the past few seasons, transforming from a middle-of-the-pack team to a legitimate Super Bowl contender, their journey to reach the pinnacle of NFL success is far from complete. The 2025 season will be a crucial one for the franchise, and the moves they have made in the offseason reflect a clear strategy to push the team toward its ultimate goal, winning the Super Bowl. However, the road to contention is fraught with challenges, and the Commanders must navigate a highly competitive NFC if they are to hoist the Lombardi Trophy. One of the biggest factors working in Washington's favor is the development of their young quarterback, Jayden Daniels. As he enters his second season in the league, all eyes will be on him to see if he can build on the success he had as a rookie. Daniels has already demonstrated an impressive ability to lead his team in high-pressure situations, but the expectations are even higher in 2025. Now, with a full year of experience under his belt, Daniels is expected to take his game to the next level and lead the Commanders deep into the playoffs once again. For Daniels, the key to continued success will be consistency. While he flashed brilliance throughout the 2024 season, there were moments where his inexperience showed, particularly in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. In that game, Philadelphia's defense was able to disrupt Daniels' rhythm, forcing him into several mistakes that ultimately cost the Commanders a chance at the Super Bowl. If Washington is to make a serious run at the title in 2025, Daniels will need to learn from those experiences and find ways to perform at a high level even when facing elite defenses. To help Daniels, the Commanders have made several moves to strengthen their roster. The acquisition of veteran defensive end Jacob Martin is a prime example of Washington's commitment to building a well-rounded team. While Martin's signing may not have generated as much buzz as some of the other free agent acquisitions around the league, his presence will be felt on the field. As a player who excels both on defense and special teams, Martin brings valuable versatility to the Commanders' roster. In today's NFL, where depth is critical to surviving a long and grueling season, Martin's ability to contribute in multiple phases of the game could prove to be a key factor in Washington's success. In addition to Martin, the Commanders have focused on retaining key players who played pivotal roles in their success last season. The re-signing of tackle Andrew Wiley ensures that Daniels will have continued protection on the offensive line, while the return of the player who made the Hail Mary catch against the Bears provides Daniels with a reliable target in the passing game. These moves, combined with the potential to add more talent in the upcoming NFL draft, give Washington a solid foundation heading into the 2025 season. However, even with a strong roster and an ascending quarterback, the Commanders will face stiff competition in their quest to reach the Super Bowl. The NFC is loaded with talented teams, many of whom have their own championship aspirations. The Philadelphia Eagles, who knocked Washington out of the playoffs last season, remain one of the most formidable teams in the conference. Led by a dominant defense and a high-powered offense, the Eagles will once again be a major obstacle standing between the Commanders and the Super Bowl. In addition to the Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers and Dallas Cowboys are also expected to be major players in the NFC. The 49ers, with their aggressive defense and balanced defensive attack, have been a perennial contender in recent years, while the Cowboys boast one of the most explosive offenses in the league. If the Commanders are to make it through the gauntlet of the NFC playoffs, they will need to find a way to overcome these elite teams. One area where Washington will need to improve is their ability to win on the road in tough environments. Last season, the Commanders were solid at home but struggled in hostile settings, particularly in their playoff loss to the Eagles. For a team that aspires to win the Super Bowl, being able to go into difficult venues and come away with victories is essential. This is something that head coach Dan Quinn and his staff will be focusing on as they prepare for the upcoming season. Another factor that could determine Washington's success is their ability to stay healthy. Injuries are an inevitable part of football, and the teams that are able to keep their key players on the field typically fare better over the course of a long season. The Commanders have done a good job of building depth at several positions, but losing a player like Daniels or one of their top defenders could significantly impact their chances of competing for a championship. As the offseason progresses, the Commanders will continue to be active in free agency, looking for additional pieces that can help them take the next step. General Manager Adam Peters has been clear about the team's goals, stating that the Commanders are focused on bringing in the right kind of players who can contribute to a winning culture. Peters and head coach Dan Quinn have formed a strong partnership, working together to build a roster that reflects their shared vision for success. Ultimately, the 2025 season represents a critical moment for the Washington Commanders. With a young quarterback on the rise, a talented roster, and a front office committed to winning, the pieces are in place for Washington to make a serious run at the Super Bowl. However, in the highly competitive world of the NFL, nothing is guaranteed. The Commanders will need to continue to improve, both on and off the field, if they are to achieve their goal of bringing a championship back to Washington. But with the moves they've made this offseason, including the signing of Jacob Martin, the Commanders have positioned themselves as one of the most intriguing teams to watch in the 2025 NFL